Radio Rahim with Johnny Nelson.
Sexy voice, man. Go on, say it again.
Radio Rahim here with Johnny Nelson. We're about to put out an R&B album, so don't you worry.
I'm your backing dancer. Man.
Now, you might not believe we're in Saudi Arabia because we're both wearing our hoodies. Johnny's got his cap pulled down. It's actually a little bit chilly here.
I've got to cover this bald head, man. You don't understand. You still got some fluff up there. My man's gone. That's gone.
Yeah, I'm wearing a sweater cap at all times. But the card is as hot as Saudi has ever gotten. Now, listen, you've been in this game a very, very long time, as have I, and they're promoting it as the greatest card ever. That's a strong statement. Is it meeting that class?
I think Don King would have one or two things to say about that, and Don King was probably the one that's the last one that's put cards on like this. But you know, in this generation's age, it is one of the greatest cards I've seen. I think to start here on Sky Sports, we're starting off with Smith Boatsi. That's a mad fight, and this is our starter. You usually start with a little soft touch, you get a bit warmed up, and this drags them in. They're like pushers. Put them in with a big fight, like. Damn, what fight. Drags them in straight away. And then you go through the card.
Right.
Every fight. I only think 2 fights will go the distance. I think it might even be an early fight. I think the top of the bill goes the distance. I think Ortiz goes the distance. The rest of them, I don't see them going the distance. And that's why, to me, it's just one of those bills.
I'd say even in the Don King days that he hadn't pulled so many promoters together from so many different countries with fighters and got them all on the same card. So that is a feather in this cap. The reason I believe that it's so entertaining is because while there's a main event, I don't know which one is the main event.
You forget, the main event is better be a Bivol.
Yeah.
But then you're talking about Parker against Dubois, and you're like,
is that the fight for you? If you had to only watch one fight on the night, which fight are you watching?
No, you can't do that to me.
Come
Not
on.
for Saturday night.
It's too late.
No.
You've done it.
Oh, come on, mate. Check that out of the way. But what would I say? I would say, damn it.
Ladies and
Damn
gentlemen,
it! Mike, check, shut up! I'd say, oh, it's hard, man. I'd say the heavyweights. I'm sorry. I'd say the heavyweights. I feel bad about it.
So this is where we'll start, all right?
Yeah.
Parker, who isn't really a shit talker, but had a lot to say in the build-up to this fight. I'd say poking Dubois about being a quitter and all of this. Is that dirty pool, or does he have a point? Is that still relevant to even talk about?
I think Parker's trying his hardest to tap into the emotion of Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois is like a robot, man. You ain't getting to him because he's like oblivious to all what's going on. So Daniel Dubois, he's trying to get him angry. He's trying to get under his skin just to get a reaction out of him. Daniel Dubois just loves. You saw when he walked into 95,000 people at Wembley against Anthony Joshua, and he was like smiling, thinking, and he was in his zone. Most fighters want to try and get under the skin of their opponent just to get emotional reaction, so therefore they don't think about what they've got to do. If you think I'm not going to do this in round one or that in round two, I just want to smash your face in. That's what Parker's trying to do with Daniel. It ain't working. It's not working because Daniel, at 27 years old, is growing into his own. He's thinking, look at the giant slayers I've just taken out my last 3 fights. And so now you've got a kid at 23 that believes, at 27, that believes in himself, that believes in what he's about. And this style that he's got will suit a young man. And it suits him down to a T. Now remember, Joseph Parker at 33 years old now, he came on the scene 2016 UK scene when he boxed Anthony Joshua. And we thought he was a backing dance. He was there. What he's had to do is had to go through his career. He's had his ups, he's had his downs, he's had a couple of wins. So you're looking at Zhilei Zhang, you're looking at Deontay Wilder, and people saying these are good wins. They are decent wins, but you've got to realise these guys, that one guy's past his best, one guy's near 40 years old. They're actually both near the 40s rather than 30s. And so these guys are older versions of the younger version of Daniel Dubois. So now you've got to be able to try and do that with a young gun, a young, hungry champion like Daniel Dubois that's going to put the pressure on you constantly. That's a champion that loves where he's at, that's enjoying the game, that all of a sudden believes in himself. That's a tall order. That's a tall order.
Does Dubois continue his knockout streak?
I believe so. I believe Joseph Parker will come in at career heaviest, and he's put that weight, and I think one to absorb and to be able to wrestle that young lion in Daniel Dubois, and not to fight fire with fire. I think that the better technical boxer is Joseph Parker. The better fighter is Daniel Dubois. So Parker's got to be able to box and bash. If he tries to go in and fight fire with Daniel Dubois, it's going to get turned over, and so he needs to be smart. So it's a case of whose tactics are going to work better, whose tactics are going to just take the momentum of the fight, and it's a good fight.
Boatsi Smith depending on who you ask, it's either a 50-50 fight or Smith is like past it, and this is a chance for Buatsi to make a show.
I've not seen Smith all week, so fighters can usually tell with fights, see what he's got left, see how his movement is, see what his appetite's like. And I think for Smith and Buatsi to do this fight, it's a big risk. For both fighters, especially Buatsi, where he is in touching distance of being where he wants to be. I think it's an interim for the WBO fight title. I think I could be wrong. So then on paper I looked up and thought, wow, really? So I'm thinking has Smith slipped a little? Because for Buatsi to take this fight, what a great fight. We could put it anywhere in the UK and this fight would be wicked. I'm curious. So as I said, if this fight goes the distance, it means Buatsi has beat him up. If this fight stops inside the distance, it means Smith. You look at his knockout reel, Smith has done Buatsi. So Smith has got an unbelievable knockout reel. So you've got to look at how this rolls.
For a minute, I'm going to take you outside of this card because I just covered Derek Chisora in his 49th win, or 49th fight, which was a win, over Wallen. And now he's determined to get 50. Do you see 50 in the card for Derek?
You know what? This was allegedly his last fight, and obviously one more. Don't be surprised it's just one more, because somehow he's been elevated to some high ranking with the IBF. I don't know how that's come about. So if it is his last fight, I hope it's his last fight, because I think I said to you, Coogan, a couple of years ago, he should jack in, because this guy's getting hit far too often, far too much. But if this is his last fight, then you think, who should he fight? You know what? A great idea. Put him in against Deontay Wilder. Now, put him in against Deontay Wilder. I wouldn't have said that 2 years ago. Put him against Deontay Wilder in his last fight. He wants his last fight to be a money and a big fight in the UK. You put him with a young gun, he's more chance of getting turned over. You put him with a name like Deontay Wilder, you think, you know what? You can see him doing it now, because Deontay looked fragile. He looked hittable. He looked hurtable. That'd be a good fight for his 50th. Big show at Wembley.
Since we've been talking about this fight for at least 2 years, really. But now it is on, and I haven't spoken to you since it's been on. Ben Eubank Jr., this fight is just a couple of months away now. Believe we're actually going to get it. Has anything changed in your mind about what we're about to see, especially with the weight now and the rehydration clause?
None at all. If Conor Benn had not been so not being so inactive, I'd said Conor Benn wins. Done. There's no conversation. I think his inactivity goes against him. I think the young man, I'm telling you, before his career come to kind of an halt, I said he's one of the fastest improving fighters I've seen. I like everything about him, his attitude, his hunger, everything. He's dangerous. But I think his inactivity in such a fight may play a massive difference in it. And that's the only reason why I'd go against him. That's the only reason. I looked at Eubank's last fight. I wasn't impressed, but he got the win, he got the job done. So I thought if you've got to go with someone, I'd have to lean towards Eubank, only because of the inactivity of Conor Benn. That's the only reason why.
We're about to see a couple of Americans on the card for the first time in Saudi. Shakur Stevenson, been a rising star for a long time, getting some criticism for not finishing fights and not being exciting. Schofield is game, young, doesn't have quite the attributes.
Yeah,
how do you see it?
Schofield's dad's doing more of the talking rather than Schofield, and usually that's a big sign. Either your boy can't talk, or you've got to try and put confidence in your boy's head. So I think Schofield will be making up the numbers, but that's one of the fights that I think will stop inside the distance.
Do you think this is the show on which Shakur Stevenson gets a breakout star performance?
Well, it's got to be. Most fighters that come here, they want to steal the show. I remember last time Ben Whittaker came here, he wanted to steal the show, almost ruined his career. You got to concentrate on your job in that fight, and that's it. And so I think Stevenson gets the job done, but he's got to concentrate on the man in front. Forget about all this. Forget about where you are. Forget about trying to steal the show. Just get the job done.
Speaking of Ben Whittaker, his rematch is on. Not one we would have expected when the first fight was on the table. We would think that would be a rematch under any circumstances, but now it's an anticipated one.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think when Ben came, remember, he's still a a young pup when it comes to the professional game, and sometimes you've got to learn along the way. So if you go in there thinking I'm going to do this, he went in there trying to blast Cameron out, trying to blast him out, and he chose the wrong tactics. If he'd have been that boxer, that flash, unorthodox fighter, that frustrating fighter, he'd have boxed the ears off Cameron. But what he did is what he thought, I'm going to try and steal the show. I'm out here, I want to make a statement. And then you saw him getting tired. You thought, oh my God, he's getting involved in a tear with a man that's saying, yeah, man, you give me exactly what I want, instead of doing what so now he's learned his lesson. You know, he's had the gypsies one, think, you know what, I won't do that again, I'll do me.
Was he being clever at the end of that fight and getting out of it, or was he?
Brendan used to call it 3 smart. He outsmarted himself. Not 2 smart, he's 3 smart. He outsmarted himself. And you know what? In football, footballers they'll get tapped on the roll several times on the floor just to get the advantage of the game. Now, if Ben did that, I'm not saying it, but if he did that in that fight, you know what? Let's fight another day. He's going to take our criticism. People will forget about it in 3 or 4 fights down the line. He probably didn't even have to take this fight. I think egos made him take this fight, because in reality, David Haye, when he lost to Carl Thompson, David Haye was in his 10th professional fight. Carl Thompson was a former world champion, 40 years old, class of no man. Carl Thompson knocked David Haye out. David Haye could have come back and righted that wrong, because David did the same thing. I'm just going to blast him out. He didn't. He just got on with his career. Look what David went on and did. So now you look at Ben. Ben could have done the same thing. But he's thinking, no, I want to right this wrong. I'm going to fix that.
With the injury bit at the end, I think his brand would have taken a terrible hit if he doesn't come back and reface Cameron. And for Cameron...
I don't believe so. I think, you know, at the end of the day, he's going to get criticism anyway. He's got criticism for the way the fight finished, so that's always going to be there. They're going to call him every name of the sun. He's happy to play the villain, the pantomime villain. So either way, when we did the press conference, he's eating his food at the table. He's saying it's on Easter Sunday. Jesus resurrected, just like I'm resurrected. He don't mind upsetting everybody. He's comfortable with that. He likes playing the villain. So I don't really believe it would have been that disruptive to his career.
For Cameron's sake, he's got to be coming in with all the confidence in the world. He believes that Whittaker put it on and just tried to get out of the fight. Yes, he believes he won that fight up until the point when it was stopped. Yes, does he have an opportunity? Is he possibly going to shake up the world, if you will, and come away with the victory?
Ben Whittaker goes in there to try and punch holes through this guy and have a turn with him. He's liable to come up against a loss. Ben Whittaker needs to do what Ben Whittaker does. He's a good, frustrating box fighter. And if he does what he does best, he gets the job done. Liam Cameron, he's a Sheffield boy. I know him through and through. He's a tough cookie. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy. And you know what? He's elevated him no matter what, because people now want to do a measuring stick against him. Callum Simpson wants to fight him. Lyndon Arthur wants to fight him because they're thinking, this is what happened with Ben Whittaker. So now, regardless of what's happened here, these guys are going to want to fight him just to set it at a yardstick. So either way, Cameron, good for him. You know, either way, he gets paid handsomely, gets the crack at the whip again. His reputation's been elevated, so good for him either way.
Now, a fight that we haven't really talked about because it happens on the other side of the pond. Benavidez is always mentioned with Canelo, and if we can't get that fight, he's not one of the subjects that we discuss. However, he's kind of right now the outlier in the light heavyweight division. Obviously, the main event here is for undisputed, but if he's out of the Canelo game, he's just knocking on the door for this for the challenge, one of the 2 top fighters here on Saturday night.
Just wait and see. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise if he was here Saturday night to see how this cookie rolls out, because you're either going to get a trilogy, or Benavidez is going to find a way in. He's going to get his foot in the door. He's got to get here, make some noise. He's got to make here, let everybody know that he's here. He's got to get here, get in the eyes of Turkey, say, Turkey, yo, come on, let's get this on.
A lot of people.
September, they're talking Crawford against Canelo.
Yeah.
The winner of Saturday could be there. Saturday night. You never know how this plays out. So if you want to put a big bill on, the stage has been set, the script has been set. Now everybody just has to play their role.
How do you match him up against both of these fighters, Bivol or Beterbiev? Can he beat both of them?
You're seeing number 1 and number 2 in the world, you know, and on Saturday night. And so we'll find out who's number 1 and who's number 2. And he's number 3. That's how it rolls, man.
Who is number 1 and number 2? Because even though Beterbiev certainly has all the belts, he got the victory, it wasn't defining in the sense that everybody doesn't agree. And there's a lot of questions yet to be answered.
I think the right man won. I think, but the man that won has got nothing left, nothing more to improve on. I think his pace was consistent. He did the right thing to make sure he got the win. I think Bivol left that fight thinking, Danny had some more left in the tank. I should have set it at a higher pace. I should have been consistent with that pace. He realised he had a lot more left in the tank, and so he was overthinking it. He was smart again. I think this time he's going to leave it all in the ring. I think he wins this time. I think he wins on point, and I think that the points will be a lot wider in Bivol's favour. So you're either going to see a trilogy, or you're going to see something happen in Vegas in September.
And before I let you go for your own spotlight and camera, there's two guys kind of on the sideline for different reasons. We'll start with Tyson Fury, because until maybe that man is laid to rest, we will always be keeping an eye on him to come back into the ring. Yes. I mean, now that we've got a little distance, what are your thoughts? And
he ain't done, man. He ain't done. Listen, he's retired 4 times. So maybe he's done me out and said, you know what, because at one time he was a golden boy here. You know, what he wanted went. So now he's treated like every other fighter. He's lost. And so now he's going to be treated respectfully like every other fighter. You probably don't like that. Tyson Fury's always said, I'm a fighting man. And so do you really think he's going to sit at home and think I ain't doing that anymore? Nowhere near a million years. So I heard somewhere there's going to be some kind of special announcement. Maybe something like this, some exhibition or something foolish like that. Yeah. Tyson Fury's not finished. And let me tell you this, if Josie Parker wins on Saturday night, even though Tyson Fury and Josie Parker are friends, Josie Parker, Tyson Fury will say, I'm out. I'm back in the game. And also, all of a sudden, we'll find an opponent for Anthony Joshua. So Anthony Joshua's not spoke about having a rematch against Daniel Dubois. It's not even been mentioned. You know, he's talking about everybody else. And all of a sudden, he's okay, I want to fight the winner, which is Josie Parker. So all of a sudden, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, if they're not fighting each other, their eyes will be on Josie Parker if he wins Saturday night.
You think Tyson Fury fights Joseph Parker?
No, he'll suggest fighting Josie Parker, trust me. He ain't done yet. What else is he going to do? He want to be world champion again. What else is he going to do? So it's either Anthony Joshua or Josie Parker, or he's going to retire.
What should Joshua do? Is that the fight for him?
What Anthony Joshua should do, he should do what Lennox Lewis did when he got knocked out against Hasim Rahman. Lennox is drunk as a skunk. He's drunk and said, I want a rematch. That's all he spoke about, the rematch. Now, I think AJ wants it. I think he's advised by his handlers, leave that thing alone there. Because if, God forbid, he lost again to Daniel Dubois, then it devalues his fight against Fury, if it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, it just devalues his purse, and really, it could finish him. So it's not being mentioned, it's kind of being ignored. I'm like, why are you not saying, this is what I want? Don't be saying, I'm going to fight again, but I'm not sure I'm going to fight. That's who you want. Daniel Dubois, that's who you want. That's who you should be shouting out. That's the only voice, the only name that comes out of his mouth, his promoter's mouth, his company's mouth. That's the only person they should be talking about. That's where Anthony Joshua should go.
We saw Crawford post that he's near 180 pounds. Do you think he will completely eliminate this weight differential narrative on the night? And if so, if that's an even fight weight-wise, what are we going to see?
You know what? I could put some poundage on you and you could be the same weight as me, but it don't mean you're going to beat me because you're carrying something new. You know, you're carrying a different weight. You're carrying something new. So therefore, you know, I think you've got to do it smart. You don't got to go to the club. It's about talent. It's about talent. It's about the best beating the best. Who's most natural at the weight?
And, well, who's most natural at the weight is killing Canelo. So you're calling this for Canelo?
I'm calling it Canelo. Crawford rated. Mad fighter, rated massively. But I think Canelo is a bit too far.
No chance for Crawford?
Yeah, of course there's a good chance because he's a brilliant fighter. But you asked me to choose, I'm going Canelo.
All right, lastly, with all these magical fights coming, you got 4 fights for Canelo.
Season, man.
You got
to give it a Riyadh season because these are wish list fights.
These are wish list. Not anymore. Now we're expecting it. That's how much the wish list has been granted. Right. You know how Americans get. We expect it now. This is the level.
We're being spoiled.
This is the expected level. If you had the opportunity to have the magic wand, if you were able to say 2025, there's one fight I'm making. Nobody has anything to say about it but me, and this fight is going to happen. What fight would you most want to see?
AJ Tyson Fury.
Done. Radio Rahim with Johnny Nelson. Riyadh season. Top card. We can't wait to see you on Saturday night.
Hoodie Twins, Hoodie Twins.
Hoodie Twins.